If you're listening right now to the Little House 50th Anniversary podcast, we know something about you. We know that you're obsessed with Little House on the Prairie.
For more than half a century, Little House on the Prairie, the series and the books have been bright lights for people all over the world who seek out goodness, decency, and human connection.
Here on the Little House 50th Anniversary podcast, we celebrate everything that made Little House so special.
The stories, the characters, the actors, and the messages that have made Little House iconic family television.
And a perfect counterpoint to a world that feels like it's going off the rails every day.
Where is Michael Landon when we need him most? I'm your host, Pamela Bob.
And I'm your prairie bitch, Allison Arngrim.
And I'm Dean Butler.
Our hashtag imaginary boyfriend. Join us for our loving, quirky, and often irreverent conversations about the finest family drama in the history of television.
And the imperfect people who made it that way.
In this third season, we are extremely grateful for the support of VisitSeeMeValley.com for their continuing sponsorship of Little House on the Prairie and the Little House 50th Anniversary podcast. Well, hello, bonnet heads. It is I, Pamela Bob, creator and star of Living on a Prairie, and super fan and your host. And I'm here with our wonderful prairie bitch, Allison Arngrim, and our hashtag imaginary boyfriend, Dean, a butler, Almanzo Almanzo. Hi, guys. How are you? What's up? Tell me anything.
What is happening?
Oh no, is that good or bad?
So Allison and I had to cancel one appearance that we were doing because of a disappointing conflict that Allison can't talk about, which she'll not talk about in a minute. And then we launched our Little House of the Prairie cast reunion event in Nashville. on the night of June 2nd. And wow, what a wonderful response.
I'm sure. People are psyched. And the teasers for it, people were going nutso. So yeah, the announcement is very exciting.
I just want to say I'm doing a makeup event because, I felt like I kind of left you holding the bag there, and I was like, I can't do something. So I'm like, okay, so what's Dean supposed to do? But there's that event in Ohio near Cincinnati.
Yes.
In Cincinnati.
The little, little big
Heritage Village, which is a lovely spot.
Village. It's adorable, and you were already going, and I wasn't because, I'm in Provincetown. I went, okay, so I'm not good. So now I'm coming with you to Ohio.
Oh my God, it's going to be off the hook.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so nice.
It was a massive crowd last year. With you there, they're going to have to lock the gates and not let people in anymore.
And I'll be coming straight from Provincetown in 2 shows, so I'm sure I'll have toothpicks under my eyelids. But
this is awesome, though.
No, it's great. It's a beautiful location.
Did you out of an event in Tulsa? I should help boost you in Ohio. It's fair.
Yeah, no, and I'm sorry that happened, and but I know you can't talk about what your conflict is, but it's just one of those things. Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe when we stop recording, you can tell me, because I've got the special access to you people.
So, all right. So, Pamela, you have news, too. What's going on?
Come on, you guys. New York City is a vibe right now. It is the New York City joy is palpable. Go Knicks. Go Knicks. Go
Oh,
Knicks.
Knicks, of course.
This city is on fire. Like, it's electric. It's alive. Happiness is everywhere. I mean, it is so joyful. It feels like an out-of-body experience being in New York City right now. It is everywhere. My bagel shop has Knicks-colored bagels. The subways are painted Knicks colors. Every building in New York City is orange and blue. The Empire State Building is orange and blue. Like, it is. People are so freaking happy. Like, in the streets, the watch parties for the basketball games.
So what's the series score right
Central
now?
Park. They're filling Madison Square Garden. They're filling Rockefeller Center. They're filling Radio City Hall. Like, it's insane. It's awesome. So that's number one. Number two, the weather is incredible. It's like the best weather in the actual world. I'm sure we'll get a heat wave in 2 seconds, but it's been like phenomenal weather. 3, I started rehearsals at the Metropolitan Opera for The Last Ship, starring Sting.
Yeah.
Shaggy.
He's Shaggy?
And
There's a
Shaggy's
combo.
in it. Shaggy's
What?
apparently Shaggy and Sting are like super close friends. They made an album together. Who knew? It is such an odd couple. It's bizarro.
I have no idea who Shaggy is. Who is
He's a
Shaggy?
recording
Was
artist,
a
but
neat.
you would never put the two of them together.
Okay.
It's just
Okay.
yeah.
It's an odd combo.
It's an
a
odd
very
combo,
odd
but
combo. Okay.
it makes me very
So,
happy.
all right. So, how was the first rehearsal?
So here's the thing. Well, I spent here's my Metropolitan Opera thing because
Awesome.
I had
Your
a
credential
costume.
to get in the stage door.
I had a costume fitting this morning, so I was there today
awesome.
too. So here's the thing. So I spent almost every day of my like my elementary school years there, and it's been that's 3rd to 5th grade, so it's been like 38 years since I've been there. I started 40 years ago there. I walk into the stage door, and this is the same stage door that my dad would drop me off, and we'd carpool, and that they'd come in, and it's the back of the building, so it's not like in the main entrance. It's the back of the building. You go into the stage door, and let me tell you guys, it is exactly the same. Nothing has changed. And I walked into that lobby.
How about the door?
The stage
guard?
door. Well, I don't know about the guard. Probably a different guard, but
Probably different
it's
generation,
the same
yeah.
red couch. It's the same red leather couches that I would sit and wait for my dad to come and pick me up. It's the same. I mean, it's the same. Nothing has changed. Then we go down into the rehearsal rooms. These rehearsal rooms. If anyone is interested in seeing all of this, I've been documenting this. So if you want to go to my Instagram or Facebook, it's at the Pamela Bob, and you can. If anyone is interested, I never document this stuff.
Everyone's
I'm not the
interested,
selfie-
Pamela. Everyone.
Well, I'm not of the selfie generation, so I feel very self-conscious, like recording myself, posting. I don't like it. But this is very special, and it has such nostalgia for me. And mean, I mean, I was crying my eyes out that morning just going back to this place, especially
That's so
because
great.
I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but like I'm sure it's happened to you when you go back to I'm sure when you go back to Simi Valley or when at the 50th and you saw like the sets back up, it's you haven't been there for 40 years and you have such vivid memories, but it's been such a long time that you're like, I wonder if that was even real. And then you go and you're like, oh no, it was real. This is the place. This is the exact place. This is the exact hallway where I saw Pavarotti walk down the hallway in a full fur coat with 2 women, one on each arm. Like this is the place where that all happened. It was real. So the rehearsal rooms it's like a football field.
Yeah.
And the sound, the reverb in these rooms, I mean, they're opera singers, so obviously they know how to soundproof a room. But if anyone cares to see what any of this looks like, I have been documenting it and on my Instagram. So the Pamela Bob, you can go. But it's been amazing. The music is incredible. This ensemble that it's, all Broadway veterans and they're incredible human beings. The sound is amazing. The score is incredible. And so we had 2 days to learn the whole show. We learned the whole thing in the first day, and then the second day we just reviewed. And now we have 2 days to plop us into it to stage it. And then we're up and running. Then we're in tech and go.
Wow,
I know, it's great.
Pamela.
So this cast, and then we'll get to Prairie. I don't want to talk about this the whole thing. But so Sting wrote this show. It was on Broadway about 10 or so years ago, 11, 12 years ago. And it didn't really do great. I mean, it was like a 6-month run, but it should have ran. The score and the story are great, but I guess they had problems with the book or whatever. He's been working on it for 10 years, and now this is like the revised version of it, and he's done a world tour. So they've been to Paris, to London, to Amsterdam, they were in Denmark. They just were in Australia doing it. So it's him and the cast, that's the core people, and then in every country they've gone to, they've hired local actors to be the ensemble.
Yeah.
So we're the New York leg. I think we're the last ones. I think this is the last leg of the tour.
Well, this is
at
the
the
real
Met.
opening. This is the
Yeah,
real opening.
yeah,
When you
I
come
mean,
to the
yes.
Met now.
Yeah,
This is
in
the
New
real
York
deal.
City. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was just very lucky that I was chosen to be one of these people.
So
So
great.
it's been really awesome. So on Friday,
And to think,
we-
Allison, we sang on the same little stage with Pamela back in November. I heard that soprano, that really
Oh my God, heard that
popping
voice.
soprano. And that's your voice when listening to you speak is not what you expect when
No.
When I say
You
when you
went
sing.
Minnie
It's a
Riperton
different
on us
thing
when we
altogether.
were doing that song, that thing. That all of a sudden you went, "Oh, did you want that higher?" And she went all Minnie Riperton on us. And then all
Minnie
the
Riperton.
dogs were barking 6 counties away. It was like, wow, where did
Well,
that come from?
So I mean, this is a great week. So all
Yeah.
right, so you're
So
rehearsing at the
we're
Met.
with
The
Sting
Knicks are
tomorrow.
1-0 in the series against the
Come
Spurs.
on.
Everyone's excited, and we're going to talk about baseball today.
Woo! Well, was that too
Sort of.
much enthusiasm? Okay, that was too much enthusiasm. I'm just trying to keep the vibe going here. All right, first from UBN Go and Prairie Partners, and visit SeeMeValley.com, and you, our patrons. This is the Little House on the Prairie 50th Anniversary Podcast. Let me, before we get started on this,
Okay.
we did I Remember a couple weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
And we were talking about Matthew Laberteau, and we didn't know, like, how
It was
did
so
Michael
wonderful
Landon
on
find
that
him?
show,
Like,
yeah.
how did this happen? And Patrick Laberteau texted me after that episode came out because apparently he listens to our podcast, which is very, very nice.
And he
y'all
knows
should listen to
everything.
his-
The boy
He
knows
knows
Yes,
everything.
and he knows everything.
And you
Yes.
guys should listen to his or watch his podcast.
Oh, his show
It's
is great.
Patrick Laber's show.
The Patrick Labber Show.
Labber
yes.
Show. Very clever title. The best title ever. Anyway, here's what he texted. Hey, great episode on I Remember. If I remember correctly, what happened with my brother was that he had done an ABC after school special called Papa and Me that Michael saw and wrote the part of young Charles for Matthew. So that's what he thinks happened with the Matthew Laberteau find. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's it.
You know, those ABC after school specials were
So important.
Yeah, they were important, and they were not expensive shows. You know, they were very. No one got paid a lot. It wasn't. But the topics that they dealt with were really important topics, and it doesn't surprise me that Michael would have
Yeah.
watched that because this was right in the wheelhouse of where his storytelling was
I
when
have
it got
never-
serious. When
I
it got
have
serious.
never even dared to attempt to try cocaine because of an after school special that I watched like in third grade.
Really?
Yeah, because the little brother found the older brother's stash of coke in his bedroom, took it, and then drowned in the pool afterwards. So that's the lesson that I learned that has stayed with me for the rest of my life. And I worry about the children these days because they don't have the after school specials.
Yeah.
And I literally am like, where are they learning?
Yeah. Well, they should be
Stuff.
learning from their parents, but maybe not.
The parents are busy snorting coke. I don't know.
I mean, this again, we're digressing here. Is Coke still a big? Coke is still a
Yes.
big deal, isn't it?
Yeah, it came back pretty strong.
Big problem nowadays is even when you've picked the particular probably horrible for you drug you've already picked, like heroin or cocaine, half the time now they're mixing stuff with fentanyl. Which means you've already decided to do something that's going to like do fairly terrible things to your body. But if they've put in enough fentanyl, then you just like overdose and drop
Yeah.
dead
Yeah, it's
because
not good.
fentanyl is so powerful.
Yeah.
Here's how strong fentanyl is. They talk about how many times. Here's when fentanyl first started, because it was a painkiller for people with severe illness, like severe bone cancer, like
Really?
that kind of level pain.
Really?
I had a friend, and she brought her friend out to LA. It was kind of a like hit the town last roundup. She was dying of bone cancer. It was really, really bad. And she was having all the treatments, but it was rough. So she was like, we're going to Disneyland. Come on, let's just go. We'll go to Hollywood Boulevard. And she was laying in bed in the hotel room as they were getting ready. She's going to get up and get ready. And she had lollipops. And she said, don't touch those, and laughed. And she had her lollipops. What is that? And she goes, these are my painkillers.
Yeah.
It's a fentanyl lollipop. And it had all this prescription painkillers.
Wow.
And it looked like a See's candy caramel thing. It's like a lollipop. I go, wait, what? She goes, it's so strong that to administer it so that I can have it, unless I'm going to wear an IV or something and have a doctor with me, I literally have a lollipop so I can have small amounts and put it away, because otherwise I'd be taking the pills and the risk of like overdose and the mask. It's so powerful. I basically have the lollipop for a couple of minutes and I'm good for the next 8 hours. And it was because it was so strong, you could administer it that way. And so it a boon to people suffering from chronic pain and things like bone cancer, like fentanyl.
Yeah.
What a great idea.
Yeah.
A great thing. But it's really, really strong. And absolutely, people can just overdose massively. That's why you see people talking about carrying the Narcan things. And that's the
Well,
new
Matthew
thing.
Perry, that's what he died of.
Yeah, they're saying now parents need to keep Narcan.
So it wasn't
injecting
propofol with Matthew Perry?
Yeah, I think
No,
it
he was
fentanyl.
it ketamine? Ketamine.
Ketamine.
Oh, was it
Ketamine.
ketamine?
He was on ketamine again. Ketamine, miracle drug. People
Yeah.
with chronic depression that hasn't
I know. I
responded to
have a
anything.
few friends who do ketamine treatments, and it's been a miracle for them.
Go to the doctor and
Right.
they have
Right.
ketamine treatments.
Exactly. Right.
Not just someone.
And
brings
it's
it-
microdosed. It's not.
They don't
right.
bring a sack of ketamine to their house and they sit in the hot. Yeah, this was a nightmare. This
Have
is
we
where
learned nothing from Albert and morphine? Have we learned nothing from throwing up on yourself?
Yeah, I mean,
We've
that's-
learned nothing.
Exactly.
I mean, speaking if we're talking about after school specials, also Little House on the Prairie, dude, like I learned so many life lessons from Little House on the Prairie. I'm not
Sure.
joking when I say that Albert throwing up on himself
Right.
episode
that could scare you.
directly affected me and millions of other kids on the planet.
Yeah.
Do not do drugs, kids.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't do
yeah,
it.
yeah.
I would hope burning down the blind school did something to prevent people from thinking smoking was a great idea, especially in the basement.
Totally. And there's alcoholism on the show. I mean, there are lots of lessons.
Yeah.
And-
Where are the
and if
kids
you
learning
cheat,
their
you're-
lessons from now.
Your mother
don't
might hit you
know.
with a jacket full of metal buttons.
I hope TikTok is filled with lessons for the children
Isn't it-
because that's what they're
I mean,
watching.
I think it's kind of mixed. I think it's
I do too.
bad.
I know it is bad. It is bad. I was trying to be positive, but you're right. It's not good. It's not good. We're screwed, everybody.
Oh God.
Let's start a TikTok channel going, no, really, don't do that.
We should start a TikTok channel of lessons from the
Don't
prairie.
freaking do that.
We really
Yeah.
should. We should start a TikTok of lessons from the prairie and have like the little clips of the show and be like, don't do drugs, kids.
Yeah.
Don't drink.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
smoke.
Yeah.
That's not a bad idea.
No, it's not a bad idea. I mean, I think the lesson in all of this is that these are self-inflicted wounds that we put on ourselves, and no one is forcing us to do this. We make some, as people, we are capable of making some very bad decisions.
Well, and the horror show is often it's people who are in some kind of, psychological mental pain, but then you're actually making it worse. The
Yeah.
hope is
Yeah.
I'll do this and I won't feel so bad.
it's
And
an
then
escape.
it's like, now it's 10 times.
Okay. Oh my, let's not go down this rabbit hole too far.
Ourselves completely here. Okay. Yes. As I keep saying, stay in school and don't take drugs.
Yeah. That's
Yes,
it. The end.
right. Let's play baseball instead.
Okay.
Oh, what a lovely sport. What a
All right. Here's
Well,
the deal with this show. We'll get to the synopsis. Dean, you tell us, and then I can't believe we're going to still talk about the older brothers after this. Every episode, we're going to talk about the older brothers.
All right. So today we're talking about episode 4 of season 2. In the Big Inning is the name of the episode. In the Beginning premiered on October 1st, 1975, 10 days before the 1975 World Series between the Boston Red Sox and the Cincinnati Reds. So it's sort of an interesting little connection to baseball. The episode was written and produced by B.W. Sandifer, directed by William F. Claxton.
Good old Claxton.
Bill did a great job on this. There is more baseball and more crowd walla in this show than anything I've ever seen on Little House. It's just, and if we need to talk about what walla is, we can do that. Allison, what is the show about?
Oh, the show is about well. Yeah.
We're trying to keep it light this week. I'm sure next week we'll go back to trauma, but okay,
Yeah.
go on.
Green stockings. It's about a team with socks. Again, there. See
The Green Sox.
The Walnut
Green
Grove
stockings,
baseball
yeah.
team has spent so many years losing to Sleepy Eye that defeat has become a civic tradition. It's terrible. Salvation appears in the form of Jebediah Mumford.
Where's his
Yeah, but it
spinoff?
should be
I want a
Mumford, not
spinoff for
That's
Mumford.
a
him.
band name, Jebediah Mumford. Jebediah Mumford. Interesting casting, by the way. You got to check out all these people's IMDb. Jebediah Mumford was on the Phil Silvers show. He was Kadowski, by the way, so just watch for him. Jebediah Mumford because he's a farmer, but he has a cannon for an arm and eye for strikes. And he literally throws it at birds and animals that are threatening his chickens, and is like a maniac. It's insane. Unfortunately, Jebediah's wife Margaret discovers that half of Walnut Grove has turned the big game into a gambling enterprise, and Shockaroo promptly benches her husband on moral grounds. The Reverend was getting involved in this gamble. Did they not know the town was generally very religious and that they didn't? Oh, well, there you go. What follows is one of Little House's most delightfully ridiculous stories as the townsfolk scramble to find a loophole in the gambling thing. Yeah, out with their own consciousness. It could be maybe the gambling will be good, right? Finally beat the insufferable Slick McBurney. Also a huge star. You have to check this guy out.
He was really terrific in the show.
I want his
Amazing.
spin-off.
His Sleepy Eyes Squad. Well, the result comes out as part baseball movie, part theological debate, seriously, and part small town caper, proving once again Walnut Grove, even in a simple ball game, can be a full-blown moral crisis. Yeah, I would say this movie, it's less dumb than the older brothers.
It is.
And it actually has some moral lessons about sportsmanship and gambling.
Yes.
However, it's a little.
Okay.
Go. Let's get the older brothers thing on the table here.
This episode started and I was like, this is dumb, but this works. And then I was like, I can't believe we're still going to talk about the older brothers after this episode, but we have to, because this is an example of, this episode is light. It's obviously definitely more bent towards a children's audience than the adult audience. Like I watched it with Margot, who freaking loved it. She was so into it. She thought it was brilliant. But it works, and it's in the world of Prairie. Like
Yes,
it
it is.
stayed in the world of Prairie.
Yes,
And
that's
the
all right
comedy
in
was
Walnut
stupid,
Grove.
but it worked. And then I was like, oh, I can't believe I'm still thinking about the older brothers. Oh. Okay, what did you think? I didn't think it was boring, though. I just thought, this is dumb, but it works.
It's like dad joke humor, and you know why? And you know why it's called In the Beginning, right?
Well, yeah. So this is Michael did a number of jokes on this idea, biblical references.
Biblical jokes. There is an ancient joke. Where's the first baseball game in the Bible? In the beginning. Eve stole first, Adam stole second, Cain struck out Abel. On and yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
exactly.
Okay.
That is how dumb that is. There's literally no in the beginning. And so this is ha, because then you have the Reverend all involved and the whole thing about the gambler. So it is a biblical reference.
One of the things that struck me about this is this episode shows off the fact that at this point in the series there are no young men in the regular cast.
There's a lot of
Oh my
these
gosh,
playing
you're
ball.
right.
How old are these
Michael at 38 years old is the kid in this episode.
Youngest dude on the team.
And he
Victor
couldn't
was
look
Richard
cuter.
Bull was 51. Kevin Hagen was 47. Carl Swenson 67. Dabbs Greer was 58. Well, they all moved pretty well. Carl Lucas, who played Jebediah Mumford, the oldest looking pitcher on planet. I mean, I just can't believe this guy's the pitcher. He was 56 years old. I think he looked older.
What do
than
you think
56.
that casting was about? Why did
I
they
don't know.
cast an old Jebediah?
Well, I think
It's just like old guy humor in some of it.
Yeah. And then Gregory Walcott, who was Slick McBurney, a pretty tasty little Irishman he
Yes,
did with
man.
his beer and his
Yes.
handlebar mustache and the cigar. He was 47 when this was shot. Very physical. And I think the real connection here for Michael is that he appeared in 7 episodes of Bonanza. I think
7 episodes of Bonanza. Also, he was literally the star. Yes, Mr. Gregory was the star of Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Oh,
not
okay.
even joking. Go look up Plan 9. It's him. He's the lead
Okay.
of Plan 9 from Outer Space. He was everything. He played the Pope in the Iger Sanction.
Oh, geez.
Yes, many of it. He was in absolutely everything. Yeah, look
huge
him up.
credits for both of those guys, by the way. Carl Lucas and Gregory
Lucas.
Walcott, big IMDb.
Tora, Blazing Saddles, Bonanza. He was on Bewitched 4 times. Like what? Who? What? But he actually was a regular on the Phil Silver show. He was Private Stash Kadowski and was one of the regular dudes on the Phil Silver show. So there you go. So people, if you were if you were a parent and a dad putting your kids in front of Little House in 75 there, you totally would have known, oh, look at Stash Gadowski from the Phil Silver show. So that would have been, they were catering to the parents, kind of in that one there.
There was this very
yeah.
with Carl Lucas, this very earnest kind of sort of. I mean, talk about a guy who was dominated by his wife. This was sort of a
real henpecked thing.
They really did.
Yeah, Margaret really ran the show. Margaret, who played Bess Truman opposite Robert Vaughn at one point in a movie.
Gosh.
She was
she's huge.
some
Yeah,
really
IMDb is amazing.
another big IMDb.
She was in a very famous Twilight Zone episode, The One Penny for Your Thoughts with Dick York, where she's in that. She's in a whole bunch of stuff. It's like, wow. Also, she was also in Tora, and you kind of go. It's weird because the guy who plays her husband did they meet during Tora? And like, and now we're on
Maybe.
the last.
I mean, did they just get killed in the bombing of Pearl Harbor? I mean, what?
What's it? It's very bizarre. So yeah, all of these people are huge character actors, and then the fun part is all the townspeople, the whole team, all the stuntmen. It's mostly stuntmen on the team because of all the brawling.
Well, there was a lot of it. Yeah.
All of those guys were in like Westworld and Blazing Saddles and everything. They're all major. Every single there's people in this episode that are listed as uncredited townsperson, but have an IMDb with like 100 credits. They're all these huge Western character actor stunt people. It's like parade of your favorite Western character actors in a baseball team. That's totally what this episode is.
And as and with all of that, this is a pretty I don't know.
Simple.
I sort of feel like in some ways this is sort of like the older brothers. Just like how do you
sum it up?
How do you sum it up? I mean, it's there's not a lot there.
Yeah, I literally was just about to say, like, I don't even know if there's a point like trying to go through the episode because the storyline is ABC. Like it's easy. There's a baseball game. They want to win. They find the guy who's a pitcher. Now Walnut Grove can win. The wife doesn't want him to play because the townspeople start wagering.
Right.
Then Carolyn says, well, we can use the money in the wagering towards good deeds.
Towards the church
charity.
fund.
It'll be like bingo.
Then Jebediah's wife says, okay.
Yeah,
then they play the game.
But you have the mustache twirling villain.
The mustache twirling villain.
Yeah, McBurney really lays on the villain thing and is very mwahaha. He's smoking and drinking while playing baseball. I love that.
A second beer by like inning 3.
He's got the cigar and a beer going while he is literally playing. And I'm sure, did Sleepy Eye bring their own band? There was a band. There was a whole.
Oh my God!
Band.
The band was playing constantly.
Belong to Sleepy Eye. Like we just brought our own band with us on a wagon to play continuously.
This was David Rose's style, and these, anything where there was a carnival. It was always this very upbeat, happy music sound in the episode. I mean, David did this kind of stuff so well, and he just gives it a lot of atmosphere.
Now, I will say that we watched the baseball game happen. There was a lot of drama, which is the pitcher, like the surprise pitcher of Walnut Grove, Jebediah is striking everyone out. The Sleepy Eye had no answer
for Jebediah. Yeah.
And so they decide to be nasty and dirty and hurt the Walnut Grove players.
And cheat blatantly,
cheat. And yet Walnut Grove still wins in the end. I mean, it's all just this is an episode specifically geared towards a youthful audience because it was simple enough that my 8-year-old watched it and loved every second of it. Like she was so into it. And then when they were cheating, she was like, they're cheating. And then when they won, she was so happy. And, again, and next episode we'll have the plague or something like that.
Right.
It's like the whirlwind of Prairie trauma.
We get to see Mr. He doesn't know what he's doing, so he falls on his butt a lot and gets hit in the head and yark.
Nels gets his emasculating moment and then his shining moment. It's all...
apparently is terrible. They're like, he was the pitcher and he's apparently bad.
I know.
They lost 36-0 the year before. I mean, how do you lose a baseball game 36-0?
Poor Nels.
And they said they called it at the end of the 3rd inning because of darkness.
I love that line.
See, this episode was charming. It was very Charming. I was not mad about this episode at all.
Yeah.
I did not have the fury that I had while watching.
Oh no, not at
the
all.
older brothers. Yeah.
No, because I think to your point, it's totally within the world of Little House.
Yeah.
Every regular cast member is there. Now, Allison, you have great memories about when this episode was shot. So this premiered on October 1st, which means, of course, it's being shot in the blazing heat of summer in Simi Valley. So talk about that.
Oh my God! First of all, I got paid to basically do nothing in this. I mean, in the episode, I got my regular.
You have a couple of shots. I mean, that's it.
Sit on my butt in the sun. It was so hot. Okay, when you're watching this, and Pamela, can you tell how hot it is? It looks like it's overlit, but it's almost entirely outdoors.
Sun,
So
yeah.
it is. The sun is
Well,
burning.
they're hitting you with so much light to make that sun, to overcome
so
the sun.
bright. Right, to make it balance.
Wait,
they had
explain
to add
that.
light.
Explain that. Because if the sun, they have to diffuse it to even out
No,
the
no,
light.
no,
And-
they can't diffuse the sun,
No,
but what they have to
can't
do
make
is
it-
intensify the light around the actors so the actors stand out.
so that it evens out
So
the
You
light.
have to even
that
it out.
Oh,
You have to
There's
balance the
more
whole thing.
heat on the actor because you've got these
So
10K
freaking
lights
hot.
blasting
Oh
on you.
my god!
And it's the 10K, the 20, the things with the smoke. Smoke
my
is coming out because it's
gosh.
a copper tube with the carbon thing, and they
Right.
light it on fire,
Yes,
and that is
yes.
literally the light. So
my
this
God, oh
thing
my
is
God.
burning away, and and then the guys with the reflectors and the whiteboards, and you have this because this insane sun, but it was just you'd be washed out, and there'd be weird shadows, and it would be insane. So in order to make it work, so you can do it balances, you have to then light the bejesus out of everything
Yes,
else.
the foreground,
So it's all
the subject
one big
has to be
hot
really
sunny
lit.
thing.
Yeah.
Oh my
So
gosh.
it's 1,000,000 degrees. It's 1,000,000 degrees already, and then let's add the light. So you can see people are sweating. They're all shiny, and you can
when
kind
you're
of
all
see
in long sleeves and petticoats.
Yeah,
and-
of course. Of course.
everyone has this slightly glazed look about them because they're standing around in this all freaking day.
How
So
many
we're-
days were the crowd stuff?
Yeah,
I mean,
how many
they-
days?
Oh, okay. This is why I these episodes are adorable, but to film them, hate them. I hate. The filming of these type in the Founders Day, the ball
Yeah,
games. It's
yeah,
always
yeah.
Football
Yeah.
games.
You
Yeah,
see
all
how
that.
freaking hot it is. So they stick to the bleachers. Well, we're not watching the game. They shoot
Right.
the game, and that's a whole thing. Stunt people and close-ups. Bleachers is everybody take your seats. Okay, you're winning. Yay!
Yay.
You're losing. Oh, and this goes on for like 9 hours. And it's literally one entire day in the bleachers, day and a half.
my God.
Seriously,
Minimum.
in the bleachers.
One whole day in the bleachers because you saw how long that went on.
Of course.
How many shots back
The
to the
game
bleachers?
went on since starting in Act 2.
Oh yeah,
And
no,
it
it was
was-
long.
A
And I'm
long
eating
game.
popcorn, and then Willie's doing this, and then we're doing that. Yeah, so it's at least one full day just bleachers, and then like most of the next day in bleachers, and then whatever else we had to do. And it's 1,000,000 degrees, and it's shot like it was like the middle of the afternoon. So that was the one Charlotte Stewart tells the story of that they took a break because you see how hot we are, and you see the dresses, and oh my God, and the whole town's there. We're bravely going, yay, even though we like are ready to pass out and throw up. But we're doing it. Thank God I had the popcorn. I was so happy. At least I had that. But there's beautiful Charlotte Stewart, Miss Beadle in a lovely red dress, and she's gamely cheering. But we're sitting there so long, and at one point everyone was sitting, and then of course, like, you can't, every time they break, you're not going to have everybody walk out of the bleachers and come back or do B team. It's going to say, could you just stay there? Because when they cut or reset, there are 25 people. You're going to have them all walk away and then all walking. How long is that going to take? So, yeah, you literally just sit there unless it's lunchtime or time to go to the bathroom.
God.
You sit there. So, Charlotte's sitting there, and she has told the story of how she's sitting there and just going, I'll rest my ass. And they finally said, okay, this is ridiculous. It's 1,000,000,000 degrees. Everyone, we're going to take 15, get some water, go in the shade. And then they went, Charlotte. And Charlotte was just like, she had gone into like a quasi-coma. She'd passed out sitting up, and she's just like in a coma basically, and just sitting. And they had to like, Charlotte, like
Oh my
make sure
gosh,
to
oh my
revive her. But she's still sitting up, like, and she woke up like, yeah, yay, what? Where? Like, no, it's okay. Like, let them lead her away to get water. Like, she said, I passed out sitting
One of the
up.
things I'm sure, Allison, I recall doing a football game. It was team fight, and so the craft service people brought out this big tub of ice water with sea breeze in it. And there were
Yes.
towels, like, like small
Oh God, I love sea breeze.
small terry cloth towels that you could dip in the sea breeze and put behind your neck to cool yourself off, which was really a great relief. But yeah, it was just
We would literally
blazing hot in those
pour
Sounds
just
scenes.
straight from the bottle sometimes, sea breeze on the wrist, because it does work. If you just pour it straight from the bottle, and like do this. I
Yeah.
mean, we were literally doing stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. No,
It was
totally. Totally.
brutal.
Torture.
And then they would
Torture.
tell us kids had learned by then, because this was like second season, so we'd learned you don't gulp when it's that hot, and they
Yeah.
finally give you a break, and there's this icy cold water. We had beautiful cold water,
Mm.
but your instinct is to go, oh thank God, and just chug it. No, do not do that.
Wow.
That cold water hit your stomach, you will pass out, you will throw up, bad things will happen. So we learned then that when you're that hot
So-
that long, you have to like do little sips.
So you learned this because you faint in season 1?
Oh my God! It was first day of summer. It's like the robin of
Yeah.
spring. We know it's summer because Allison's unconscious. It was like first day of summer. I would black out because it was just ridiculous. And the light also, I have the pale blue eyes and the thing. And my doctor even said, "Yeah, you know how you have like no melanin in your skin? Yeah, that's the back of your eyeball too." Well, Dean, look at you. Dean could get a sunburn under a lamp. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just like
Me.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
me.
So the Irish
That is me.
Everyone
and
was
the
well.
light burning out my eyeballs. Yeah, I would black out, just out.
So it was so interesting, that we'll throw a little trivia stuff, and I think we've talked about this before. But Michael wore very little makeup, if any at all. I mean, he had
tan.
this very dark tan.
Tan.
Everyone was made up to balance with Michael.
We couldn't look that pale next to him.
So I had farmer tan arms and the neck and all that. I mean, obviously we're all covered up, but if your skin was exposed, you were
had
being
body
made up to try and be in the same territory that Michael was in naturally. So it was
Look
a
at me, this
dark
color.
Egyptian
Egyptian number 2
body
or nat
makeup.
tan.
Yeah,
nat
yeah.
tan was for the very pale people, and nat
Yes.
tan, neither natural nor tan.
Yes.
I mean, just this weird dark color, and nat tan.
That's also why sometimes, and again, you can see it more with the high def, but sometimes in some
totally.
episodes, especially the women, there's a weird flat matte flatness to their skin,
This stuff on.
and it's like that's the pancake, like that's the
yeah.
yeah.
But you had to, and it acted as a bit of a sunblock.
I'm sure it did.
God, I cannot imagine what shade I would, because I didn't get a sunburn during the show. I can only say at least never got a sunburn because we
Yeah.
were covered up, and makeup did do that. But it was just, I remember it just being so freaking miserable. And then you get bored, because if we were really watching a bunch of stuntmen from Blazing Saddles beat each other up, yes, I would watch that all day. Awesome. But we were not watching anything. We
Right.
just were watching the guys and Miles Meadow and everybody go. And now they're winning, yeah,
Right.
and doing this.
Right. I thought I thought when you consider that, Allison, I thought the way this was, the energy in the cut
Oh, it was great.
is really terrific. I mean, you feel
really
like
good.
you are actively involved in a game. You do not feel the process of this at
no,
all.
not at all.
Oh, we were good. Well, we were good at this. I mean, it
Yeah.
sucked, but by golly, we put in our bed. Like I said, Charlotte
Yeah.
passed out, and 2 seconds later, she was like, "Woohoo! Yeah, yay! What am I doing? Where? I mean, we gave it our all."
Yeah.
We
Oh no,
tried.
clearly. I moving on from that idea, I just think back to the first scene in the episode, and we're not going to go through this scene by scene because it
God, no.
doesn't necessarily make sense to do that. But something that struck me as I watched it is how young Michael looked
Yes.
in that opening
So
scene where
cute.
he's sanding the bat, and
Yeah.
Laura, how young Laura
Oh,
is
she is a
in
baby.
in that scene, and very sweet, but he has such a light about him
Yes.
in these moments. I mean, I think this was early in season 2. The show is a hit. He's on top of the world, and he looked great.
Yes.
He sounded great. There was just such a light about him in this. And I think,
Agreed.
and in this episode, he's the kid. In the
He's
episode, in terms of the men go,
this.
as far as the men goes, he is the kid.
And it was a great episode for the guys because the ball playing in the
It's
front
all
and like
about
all
guys.
these stunt
Yeah.
guys. There's a guy in there, Chuck Holloway, who plays Cosby. I don't even know if they've addressed him by name, but he's a huge stuntman who worked with John Wayne. He was in Blazing Saddles, in Westward, all this stuff. But he was also in Night of the Lepus. And yes, this episode is directed by William Claxton. Night of the Lepus, with 1972, right before Little House, was a horror film about giant rabbits attacking a town.
Oh, Lepus. Oh my God.
It's as bad as it sounds, maybe even worse than it sounds.
It's like Monty
and it was
Python, the
directed by
bunny.
Bill Claxton. Bill Claxton directed a Killer Bunny movie.
Did he really? Oh, I didn't realize that.
And Michael never let him forget it. And it may have been, this is one of the first episodes I may have heard about it, because since we had one of the actors from it. And I don't know, I swear, I think that's why, like, when people talk about after they blow up the set, the end of the thing, there's little rabbits.
All the bunnies.
Yeah, there's a lot of bunny gags in the show because Michael never let him forget that one and would scream with laughter and start going, well, it's better than Night of the Lepus. Ha, Bill. And rag on Bill Claxton about the killer bunnies.
Do
you think that's why there were all those bunnies at the end of the finale?
I do.
No, I think that's more. I think that's
there were
more
multiple
symbolic.
reasons.
What
Yeah.
is the
But
symbolism
Michael
of
had
all those bunnies?
Yeah.
What is
Because
it?
it's rebirth and the bunnies still take over the town. But Michael had a running bunny joke going for a while because of
That's
there were
funny.
bunny jokes. Because during this, he ragged on Claxton, and I remember him saying, and he was laughing so hard, and poor Bill was like, "Stop already," because getting bunnies to be menacing was very difficult.
Of course.
And they put the bunnies in cages, and the idea was they open the cages, and the bunnies would stampede through the miniature town.
Sure, of course.
Well, they don't because they're bunnies, and they opened and they just sat there. And a couple of them went bloop, 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 bloop. And they tried. We'll fire off a starter pistol and scare them, and then the bunnies will run.
Run, yeah.
If anybody's spending any time with bunnies, that's not. They curled up into a ball and they all went through the position.
Yeah, because they're scared.
So yeah, I'm
That's
sure that
funny.
was a tough gig to wrangle. I'm sure just because you
Horror
just
bunnies.
didn't, you just wouldn't want
How do
to
you wrangle
scare
the
the
bunny?
bunnies.
Yeah, of course.
Now
They tried scaring the bunnies. It was a disaster. Of course, the bunnies didn't respond to that. They're bunnies.
Yeah. Now, and something that's sort of entertaining about that, talking about Bill Claxton. I mean, we haven't talked about Bill's demeanor a lot. Bill was such a soft-spoken. When he would direct you, he'd sort of like look down at the dirt and kick the dirt as he was talking to you. I mean, he was so gentle in the way he dealt with people. I can only imagine in directing,
killer bunnies.
directing bunnies, how frustrating that might have been to him, because how do you get them to do, what you want
God,
them to
before
do? And Bill would
CGI
not
and-
complain about it. Yeah, he
Bunnies
just
don't
would not complain
follow
about it.
orders. They don't do anything. And then we'll scare the bunnies. Yeah, the bunnies, you could lose a couple. You could kill a bunny doing that. The poor bunnies were traumatized. And Claxton used to remind me actually of a white rabbit because he had like it was almost like the little pink.
He had a shock of
dot
white hair
tail.
on his
And
hair
it
was
like a
white
little
gray. Yeah.
bunny. And it was interesting. I talked about in my book. Claxton was so incredible because he would come up to you and he'd talk to you very quiet, and he spent a lot of time talking to his shoes.
Yes.
Shoegazing.
Yes.
Like an emo band.
Yes.
But he is the person who first said to me, "You've gotta stop like being so shy. You've got to raise your chin, and you need to look people in the eye." And I thought, this man
Really?
hasn't looked anybody in the eye.
The guy who's always talking to his shoes is telling you that he needs to
told me
look
to get
people in the
my
eye.
eyes off my shoes, start looking at me, and I thought maybe because he knows how hard it is, and maybe because this has in fact been a problem for him his whole life, he knows, and it's like, hey, you gotta do the thing. So I thought, wow, the guy who looks at his shoes 24/7 told me I need to look up more. Wow, well, he would know.
Catherine, who starred in Father Murphy for Michael with Merlin Olsen, they obviously, this whole team was very tight, and Catherine absolutely loved Bill Claxton as a director. It's just the sweetness, the gentleness of the way he would offer up what he was doing. That's really, that's really sage advice he gave you, Allison, in a way that only in a gentle way that he would do it. It would not be this commanding thing. It would sort of be this very sort of halting, gentle approach to that instruction.
Everything was whispered. He'd whisper to you everything, and while talking to his shoes, the poor dear. But he knew what he was doing. But he seemed like he was someone who maybe was innately shy, but strangely had this career where he directed huge stars and occasionally killer rabbits. But Michael would just laugh and tease him.
But he could also cut to the point. I mean, I do, I do remember one day, and I don't remember specifically who this was pointed at, but he was talking about actors and motivation, or he was being quizzed about actors and an actor's motivation, and Bill looked very did not skip a beat, and he said, "Your motivation is your paycheck."
Wow.
Now I think. I think that's an old quote that's been going around Hollywood, but that's what he
But Bill did not mince around with that.
No,
your motivation is your paycheck, so get on with it. And
figure it out. Figure it out.
Yeah. You don't have a motivation for every single beat and thing you do, and if you want one, that's a thing you go make up yourself in the dressing room,
right?
Because it's just it's TV, and that was just something that Steve Tracy used to tell me. He said, okay, I've had all the training and it's great. So you come up with a sense memory. And what do you used to say? Spiders in my underwear. He says, I've decided spiders in my underwear. That's going to be my big trigger
That
thing.
was his secret.
That's my secret. He says, but then you get to the set and it's TV, and you get there and they say, well, we've rewritten the scene and we're changing this and we're doing that, and you try the thing and they go, hey, that was really nice, but no, we don't want to do that. Could you do it another way? He said, no, you just spent 4 days working on spiders in my underpants and coming up with this whole thing, and they go, that's nice, and now you need something else entirely. Now, because they've changed it, because it's TV. He says, so spiders in your underwear isn't always going to work. You have to come up with a different method for TV where you can have a thing that is full and motivated and supported, whatever, but you need to be able to whip that out of your pocket on the spot.
Yeah. I think so much of the time this is why at the speed that we went, people were cast very close to what Michael wanted people to be themselves more than anything. He wanted you to be, and even you, Allison, he wanted you to be yourself. He saw the thing you showed him in the very beginning. You showed him the thing that you had. And that's why he probably said, do that thing you do, because he just needed it to happen.
Yeah. Just make that happen. Just don't worry about it. Just make that thing happen.
Yeah. You think when you come into this that directors are there to help guide you, and they are, but what they're really there to do is save you if you're flailing.
Right.
That's what they're there for, because they really don't have time to talk to you about what it is that you're doing. They need you to have that.
Now, that's the thing about saving. Claxton said that to me once too, because we were talking about doing more, don't hold back. As you notice, Nellie got a little wilder as the seasons went on, and part of that is the game of anteing up that Michael and I seem to be playing, where they'd write a thing where I'd be doing something completely terrible and I'd go, ooh, okay, and I'd go for it, and they go, well, if you're going to do that, and then write this, and it became this, but Claxton said to me, where some insane said where it was kind of funny, and he said, no, you can do much more. And I was what? And he said, look, I know I keep telling Catherine to turn it down.
Yeah, right.
I mean, look at her. She comes in with all barrels blowing here, like where do we have to go? Yes, of course I have to get you rein it in a little so we have somewhere to go. He says, you're not going to do that. You're just not. He says, I don't know how much higher you would have to go before you hit that level. He says you would have to go so far from what you're doing now to possibly be overdoing it. I don't know how long that would even take. And he said, so go for it. Do whatever you think you want to do. Don't hold back. Do more. And if you ever actually go over, if that ever freaking happens,
he'll tell you.
I will tell you. I will tell you. Okay, there. Yeah, that's the line. That's the line. Come back down. He says, but it's just not going to happen. He says she starts there, so of course I have to bring it down. He says you could go up, Matt. You could go.
Right.
You're not going to match her level. You got like about 20 yards before you get within shooting distance. So I was like, wow, really? And he's like, yeah, it's fine. Just go.
But Allison, what's so wonderful about you, and I know this because I worked with you before on Living on the Prairie, but you are such a versatile actor because you know exactly what to do on camera. I mean, I loved watching you work because it was really fascinating for me watching your process and your work. And how simple you were able to be, but totally present in there. And then on stage, you're a theatrical actor, right? Like you know how to be big for the stage and you know how to tone it in for the camera, yet still be an active presence.
Yes.
Dean, I know you know how to do that too.
And then do it in
I
French.
don't think I agree with you with what you're saying about Allison, that she can scale it really, really well. I think as an actor, I am much more, I think probably naturally inclined to work bigger, working across a set of, footlights. That's a much more natural environment for me to be in. Scaling it down is much harder for me.
It's harder for me too. I've come a long way with it, but I'm also naturally a bigger person. Like that's how I am in real life. I'm a very expressive person, and I'm very expressive with my face.
I see you on stage.
You've seen me on stage, but it's a real technique to understand and learn how to pare that down for camera. I had an on-camera teacher who would put his hands right here and say, "You're talking right here.
Yeah,
this
right.
Is it.
Exactly.
Here's the camera.
That's it.
That's the only reach you need. There is no reach. The camera is right here.
Yes.
Speak through this little pinpoint right here, and it worked every time.
And the camera is looking right into your soul.
That's
It's
right. You cannot
amazing
lie.
what the camera sees, and it knows if you're bullshitting.
It really does.
The audience may not know what's wrong, but they know something's not right.
Yeah, totally.
If you're not being in an authentic
It's like a truth
place.
serum. The camera
And
is.
it's weird because I came from there because it's from small childhood doing camera acting, and so when I started doing stage much later in my late teens, 20s, it was like, I gotta.
So you had to learn the opposite. So you had to learn how to be bigger.
I had to learn to ramp it up. Clearly, I caught on.
Yes, you do not have a problem.
I just want to say we have gone completely off the rails.
I know. We'll get back.
Let's
We're going to
take a little break.
Let's take a break.
regroup.
And I was going to say,
we'll come back.
when we get back, I had some revelations watching this episode. So we will discuss that when we come back after this break.
From the pioneers to the presidents. Explore beautiful wildflowers, hike through iconic Hollywood locations, and end your day aboard the actual Air Force One at the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library and Museum. Throughout the summer, take the Little House 50th Anniversary Tour at Big Sky Movie Ranch. Less than 15 minutes from Los Angeles and 30 minutes from Universal Studios, Simi Valley has small-town charm with big-time history. Go to visitsimiValley.com for more information. We are so grateful to visitsimiValley.com for their commitment to presenting the Little House 50th Anniversary podcast.
Okay, we're back, everyone. Okay, we're going to talk about my revelations watching this
Let's
episode.
talk about your revelation.
First,
Revelation.
I turned on the subtitles, the closed captioning, and guess what? I knew what Carrie was saying because of it. So my lesson is, whenever Carrie is in an episode, turn on the closed captioning because they understand. I don't understand, but they understand. I was like, what is she saying? I don't even remember her two lines, but I didn't understand a word. And when I read it, I was like, oh, fascinating. That's what she said.
We have to talk to them about that. Oh my God,
what
that's
did
funny.
she say?
I don't
She
remember.
was adorable,
She
but
was
I
adorable,
also
but
had
don't remember what she said. All I know is that the closed captioning got it right, and I was like, "That's what she said." Amazing.
Baseball. She wanted to play baseball too.
Right.
Sure.
Carrie
I
wants
don't
to play
know.
baseball too. Yeah, she speaks
Yeah,
about
I was
herself in the
that-
third person.
Okay,
Yes.
my next revelation.
Yes.
When Doc Baker stepped out in his college baseball outfit,
Yeah.
he officially won the title of Hot Doc. I'm sorry. It's the
Sure,
only
sure.
time.
I
It's
told
the
you
only
he was
time I
hot.
looked at him and I was like, oh, okay. Hot Doc. I get it.
Doc
He looked
Baker was hot.
he was
Shut
hot
up,
in
see?
the baseball outfit. And it also made me go, I want the Doc Baker spinoff. I want to know his story of like, where did he go to, where did he come from? Where did he go to college? How did he decide to be a country doctor in the prairie? Like, where's that story? And do we know anything about that in historical?
Doc Baker is a
Nothing.
made-up character.
He's
But
an
there wa- but-
amalgam of doctors.
Yes,
we
right.
Don't know we don't know.
But wouldn't that be fascinating? Like, I want that series of, or a movie or something.
Prairie doctor.
He was really,
Prairie
when you
Doctor.
watch Kevin work, he was really good.
He was
And where I love watching him in this is he does this really wonderful, understated, quiet revelation kind of thing as he's talking about. I mean, I love the naming of the teams in
Yes,
this.
naming of the
Everyone's
teams
got
is
their
very
name for the, it's so with
The
Doc Baker, it's the Mulligans.
The
Yes, the
Mulligans.
Olsons wanted to be the Merchants.
Merchants.
The
And
the Millers for
Hanson
for
wanted the Millers.
Mr. Hanson, and the Heavenly Hosts for
Heavenly
Reverend
Hosts.
Alden.
Because that's totally a
Alden.
baseball team name. What is wrong with you, Reverend Alden?
The Heavenly Hosts. Yeah, I love that. But no, Kevin when he comes up to bat and he just I just think of him like he takes the bat from Charles. He's going to swing it and that's quite an instrument, Charles. I mean, but there was just something so real and like so
Totally.
present about that.
Always
He
with
just
him,
he just
always.
was really, really strong.
Yes.
And Kevin in his life was quite the character.
Ooh, do tell.
No, he just was quite the character, and I think he was, but so good, and he did his job. Kevin always did his job, and he didn't push one. I mean, he had this zone that he was in with this character. You could totally believe the character. Like Mr. Edwards could be different things depending on what he was called on to be.
Sure.
I mean, Victor could swing a lot of different directions with the intensity of that portrayal. Doc Baker was always in the pocket,
Yep.
and he found a way to be what he needed to be in the pocket.
Yeah.
And the banter with him and Carl Svensson,
Yeah,
Lars
great.
Hansen,
Great.
when he and
The old
Hansen would
goat
get into
and
it,
yeah.
that really seemed to fill out both their characters for me. Like, okay, these guys knew each other. Maybe
Yes.
these guys knew each other before they moved to
Yeah,
Walnut
maybe
Grove.
they did.
What is going on here? They clearly have a long history.
Yes.
And then they give each other a hard time. And that works. I mean, that could be filler nonsense banter and be totally dumb, but you believe it.
And totally entertaining. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally entertaining. That between Doc Baker, Nels, Carl Hansen, Reverend Alden, they all had a really nice way about just being in this space. They were the core of the sort of the moral center. I mean, the Ingalls are the sort of the ultimate moral center of the program, but it's those four guys really fill out what Walnut Grove is as a place, and you can count on them. And Doc Baker with his college baseball uniform on, and he's musing about the Mulligans. I'm thinking, when I think of Mulligans, I'm thinking of a golf thing.
Yeah.
But he explains, no, this was his baseball coach's name in college, the Mulligans.
Right.
Yeah. So
The last revelation I had was
Oh,
that
yes, sorry, yes, more
was
revelation.
That I am officially old because every time I saw Slick wind up his arm a million times before then pitching, my shoulder felt sympathy pains. I was like, ease up on that shoulder. This is going to kill you.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
also bizarre that he did that. I think it was just trying to be a comedic,
Of course.
you know,
No one would
physicality
pitch that
shtick.
way.
No.
Am I hallucinating? Now, I am not a sports person, as you found out at pickleball.
I can't even process the pickleball.
But you filled it though, Allison. You filled it. You had all the menace you needed on the pickleball court.
I gotta ask, when he's winding up, am I hallucinating, or does it look like he's winding up all the way this way and then stops and throws it completely the other way?
Yes.
Well, it's
You
like
are
he's
not
doing a rubber
hallucinating.
band thing.
He's
Yeah,
winding
he goes,
it up
"Rrr,"
clockwise
and
and
then
then throwing.
boom.
Yes, it doesn't
And
make
I'm like,
any sense.
so the wind up,
The
what did that
opposite
mean?
way.
It was
No,
the
it's-
opposite direction.
No,
What
he's
was
just
the point?
killing his shoulder for no reason. I know. I know.
That would be quite the shoulder is the most complex joint in our bodies. And yeah, that rotator cuff was really working during all of that.
And I don't even have shoulder problems. And I was like, no,
That
the shoulders.
hurts.
I'm old. Wow, if that's all I'm thinking of while he's doing that. And also how ridiculous it is that he's winding it up in the opposite
Yeah,
direction
no,
that
of
he's
course.
actually pitching.
Of course. No, it's I think it's a wonderful, and then look, you've got that music going with the,
He's
that
smoking
happy
the
thing going
And
on
he
the
has the
cigar.
stogie in his mouth, the beer. I mean, I love this guy. The windy mustache.
Yeah,
Here's what I
great.
loved about Slick is that we don't see this type on Little House on the Prairie, but historically it is accurate in terms of what he looked like, in terms of, and that's part of the Prairie that we never see. So I also was kind of like, ooh, where's the Slick spinoff? I want to see what that life is.
He's a
too.
dandy.
Like
He's
the
a
drinking,
fool
smoking,
himself.
windy
Yeah.
mustache.
I thought he was
like,
great.
He was
He's the
great.
guy who'd have his foot
thought he
up
was
on
great
the
in the
rail
episode.
at the bar.
He was hitting on. He was hitting on.
Hitting on Mrs.
Olsen.
Olsen with her
Come
beautiful
on.
eyes. And, and Nels, at the end of Act 1, Nels is very jealous as he starts
He
really
is.
whipping
It's
that
really
broom.
Funny.
And of course, Slick has told him that the broom's not good for his pitching. And now he's working that broom. So as they get ready to lay down bets. He was wonderful in this.
I do have
What's
to
with
say,
the dog? What's with the dog running through the baseball game?
Jack was Jack running through the baseball game? I know
Jack
Jack was
was
in the
barking
stands.
at a few shots.
Was there
Was he
a
running?
scene where all of a sudden I went, a dog? And
Maybe
a dog
that was a blooper.
I don't think that was Jack, and I want to know whose dog was that, and why did it
wasn't
just so
Jack?
randomly run through the scenes?
This is a case for the Facebook blooper page because they'll be on it in a heartbeat.
Oh, wow.
I
I
don't
never
know.
noticed the
Jack
dog.
appears several times, but there's one point where that dog isn't commented on and just kind of goes through it, and I'm
funny.
like, what did I
Now,
just see?
I do have to say, Margot, towards the end of the episode, did turn to me and say, how come none of the girls are allowed to play baseball? And then I had to go into my whole feminist diatribe of this is why it's important we have to fight for our rights. And I just played her a couple weeks ago the musical Suffs that PBS filmed it, and it's required viewing for everyone. It is an unbelievable musical about the women getting the vote and the whole story, and how none of us have ever been taught about who these women were or what actually happened historically. And it's an amazing.
So this is Susan B. Anthony and
It's
Christabel
it's right
Painter.
post Susan B. Anthony.
Okay.
So it starts
Okay.
in like 1915 and goes up to 1920.
okay.
When they finally get the vote, and the women, the pioneers who really
And
did
the
first
musical
march.
again is called
Suffs, short for
Suffs.
suffrage.
Suffragettes.
Suffs.
Okay, got it.
Anyway, so I had just played that for her a couple weeks prior. So when she asked that question, I was like, well, this is why we have to fight. It's very important to fight for our equal rights. And remember the story that they told you in Suffs? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, okay, she gets it. Yes. But
Laura
interesting.
Played ball. I mean, it was called To a Cat or whatever the heck they were calling it that week.
To a
The
Cat,
little
right.
girls played ball, and didn't Miss Beadle hike up her skirts, and didn't Ma
Yes.
once tuck her
Yeah,
skirts
she did.
Maud got a
out
good
of the
hit.
field.
Yeah.
So the women, if it wasn't professional sports, I guess,
right.
were allowed in towns to sort of play.
play.
But yes, back in the 1800s, absolutely, they did not have
Yeah.
women playing
Yeah.
baseball. It was not like a thing.
No, right.
Well, I this is going to sort of date. I always remember my mother telling, we talked about people sweating, and my mother would say, and my mother always, Dean darling, she would say, horses sweat, men perspire, ladies glow.
Yes,
Yes.
Was the phrase that I heard all the time. So, you only wanted to get to glow if you were
Right.
in that
is
era,
fascinating.
if you're
My
the
gosh.
lady. Yeah. Horses sweat, men perspire, ladies glow. Yeah,
Wow,
yeah,
wow,
yeah, yeah,
wow.
Yeah. Yeah,
It was a
I think
time.
now women take, look, you watch WNBA games, you
They're
watch,
sweating.
yeah,
They're awesome.
everybody
WNBA
is
games are so
doing the work.
exciting.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's how far as a culture we've come in a relatively short period of time.
And yet the ERA has still not
No,
passed.
I know.
I'm just going to say it.
And
Yours passed, it just
Pamela,
won't sign the paper.
I have thought for a long time, and Alice, you may have an opinion on this, but if women wanted the ERA to pass, it would have passed by now.
That's an
Women
interesting
outnumber
thought.
men.
I'm not
Yeah.
saying you're wrong. That's really
It has.
interesting.
It has not, there is a single piece of paper that the clerk of the court has to sign, and they have never signed it, and each administration has told them not to.
Is that true?
Yes, it passed. There's literally a piece of paper that has to be signed that has not been signed, so that it has not gone into effect, and this has gone on for years.
I think we need to explore that some more. I've never heard that story.
Bonkers is that?
But here's the other thing. We aren't taught about women's history. Again, when I saw Suffs, I had no idea. I had never heard any of these women's names, and we should know we should know these women's names just like we know the founding fathers. These are integral people in our history.
Christabel Pankhurst. There, I know one. So-
Sure, Pankhurst, sure, but not everyone knows who Pankhurst. I mean, we are not.
ERA
There's no curriculum in public schools about women's history. We
You go
do
to
not.
university,
I
maybe.
learned what I learned from a Ken Burns documentary.
Yeah.
Like
And Ken Burns documentaries are great places to learn things.
But I mean, the fact that we are not taught this. So
Right.
what you're saying, Dean, of if women wanted it, they would vote for us. Women don't know about it. Women
That
don't
just
know about
staggers
it.
me to think about that women don't know about
And
it.
especially, I mean, my generation, listen, I grew up with a mother who was marching with NOW and fighting for the ERA and very active in feminism and female, women's rights. And I was brought up in that. But
How do we go from baseball to this?
I know, well, because it was about the women not being able to. But the
Just for
younger
the record-
generations haven't grown up with that. They don't
They don't
know, and if they're not taught, you don't know what you don't know, man.
Yeah,
Just
no,
so
that's
you know,
that's
for the
right.
numbers, the ERA passed Congress in 1972. It reached the necessary 38 state ratification in 2020. It remains
Seriously?
in legal political debate due to ratification deadlines. And the primary hurdle is an arbitrary time limit placed on the amendment. And there is, like I said, it literally.
And what is the arbitrary time limit?
They are waiting for a piece of paper to be signed. It's passed everything except being signed off on finally.
This is insane.
It's satisfied Article 5 of the Constitution for ratification. It's part of the Constitution, according to constitutional scholars, but who listens to them anymore? But the archivist, here we go, the archivist of the United States has not taken the final ministerial step of publishing it in the Federal Register.
I think that's astonishing.
I
think that's absolutely, if that's Allison, what you're reading is accurate, that is an astonishing piece of news.
That's the only reason. It passed in 72.
Do you
I wonder what happened. Like, I part of me feels like, and I know we're going out the prayer, but actually, I love these conversations. I don't think our viewers are mad about. I don't think our listeners are mad about this. And please, if you're mad about this, I'm sorry. I apologize.
About the equal rights thing in Walnut Grove
Yes.
when they all wound up staying at my
Yes.
hotel. We'll have to do that episode.
Yeah.
and
Yes.
then we'll do this, yeah.
That'd be a good
But
one to
yes.
do. Yeah, coming off of this. Yeah. Anyway, go ahead, Pamela. I'm sorry.
I wonder what happened, because I think maybe when women really joined the workforce in the 80s and it felt like we had gotten somewhere in terms of equality, and I think that the sort of the is it the expression, the wool pulled over our eyes? Like, I think women think that we're equal.
because we have gained so much, right?
thinking.
Like we're in the
Keep thinking.
workplace, we're single momming it, we're there's so much progress that we have made that I think majority of women are like, what's the problem? And then you hear about no, but there's still a pay wage gap, and there's still
Right.
we still don't have I mean, currently we have our rights being taken away from us. Our bodily autonomy, whatever, domestic violence, spousal abuse, like all of those rights have been taken away.
I don't know if that's. I mean, is spousal abuse? That is a. God, to say that's a right. I mean, that is an unfortunate tragedy of men and women, and men being just stronger and more able to lash out and hurt somebody.
Well, what I mean is that the legal system, what I mean is, for example, Title IX, which was literally currently swiped off of the legal system, which is if you are raped or sexually assaulted on college campuses, you have rights and you have protections, and that literally was just banished. So it's
I'm
much
sorry.
easier.
When did that happen?
The current administration.
Well,
A bunch of things got taken.
A lot
I
of
think there's
things
a
got
yeah.
taken away that
that's interesting.
hurt and affect women. Abusive men having the right to carry guns, for example, who have a history of abuse, like that has been brought back. Like there have been things that greatly affect women and women's safety.
And they're not held to the same legal standard.
right.
That if a guy went to his workplace and punched his boss, it would be very different. He would be having a very different conversation with the police and with the judge.
As opposed to
Domestic violence, because
Punching his wife or
no,
girlfriend.
I see.
Family-
As opposed to punching his wife.
because family court and domestic, there was actually the invented family court after they made domestic abuse illegal. When it finally became illegal, like, no, really, you really can't do that. We're going to pass specific laws that say, no, you can't do that anymore, and specific penalties. Suddenly they needed a new court system to take it out of criminal court and put it somewhere else.
Yep.
And
I
what
mean,
does
even
this
the
tell
family
us about
courts are all-
baseball?
I know. Well,
That's why women couldn't play
listen,
baseball. in
it all comes
1975.
back to the Prairie, and it all comes back to after-school specials and the lack of after-school specials. Because I'm telling you, like every moral thing I learned was from Sesame Street and after-school specials, man. And it's like we don't have the after and Little House on the Prairie. Right? So
This is okay. This is fascinating, and I'm just going to throw this out because after my visit to Washington, D.C., I was reached out to again saying, would I like to participate in a congressional briefing in December talking about the importance of family television to members of Congress and to congressional staffs.
do it. Are you going to
Allison,
do it?
Allison, would you like to be part of that?
I'm thinking that might be a thing. That
Oh,
might
you
be
guys,
a thing.
you guys
Okay,
have
I'm
to
like
do it.
yours. Should we do that?
I think
can
we
I be your-
absolutely
can I be
should
your
do that. And I think
character
we have to be
witness?
thoughtful about who we might invite to join us in that. But these are really, and look, I said to the person who asked me about this that I don't want, there's a part of me that doesn't want Congress having anything to say about
We're
what we
government
watch
into what we're doing
on television.
Yeah, right.
But on the other hand, to stress the importance of television that teaches these kinds of lessons.
I mean, Mr. Rogers had to do it, Dean.
Right.
Right.
And Mr. Rogers, I always thought Mr. Rogers was a little creepy, but
Same.
But Mr. Rogers had a lot of important things to say.
Yeah. Yes.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like, I believe we should have all the different things on the TV because I want to watch all of them. But we absolutely have, we used to have, what was it, the family hour, having that space that is specifically for teaching these kind of values and having stuff for the family and children. That's a thing.
I
That's-
learned about
So,
eating
all
disorders
right.
from Meredith
So-
Baxter Burney and that after school special. I learned about bulimia and anorexia from Meredith Baxter Burney. I mean, honest to God, and if I had not watched those programs, I would not have learned about it.
And I did one about a father who cheats on his wife. And,
Ooh, were you the father?
yeah. With Kay Lenz and
Is it on YouTube?
Yeah, I mean, it was. I had a beard, and it was,
Dean with a beard?
Yeah, I had a whole.
Can you
I
grow
was
a beard?
wearing a
You're
beard.
a
at that
terrible,
point.
terrible man, a terrible husband. You're bad.
The wonderful young actress who was in, oh God, what was the sweet movie? Charlie Sheen was in it. It's the little kid the little guy who's the just like constantly being picked on and beaten up and
Luca.
Luca.
Winona Ryder?
No. The actress who was starred in that movie. She was in this after school special. She was wonderful. She was really, and if you told me her name, this is what happens when we have our stream of consciousness conversations. And then
Now it's
I wasn't
real
prepared to
dark
talk
now.
about
Well,
that.
okay, so I was going to say that I know we didn't do like a full recap because
No.
what was the point, but I do
Well, there's-
love the conversations that come out of all
Yeah.
of this. And I know that they oftentimes veer left and they veer right, but it does all come back to the prairie eventually.
And this one had a moral message. This episode did again.
Okay. Good.
Sportsmanship
Wrap this up.
and
Good.
gambling.
Sportsmanship.
Yes.
And gambling.
But,
now,
but what
I don't
about the
know
big
this-
fight at the end? I'm watching this
such a
rumble
brawl.
that goes
Talk
on
about
at the
bad
end of this.
sportsmanship, horrible sportsmanship. And again, he was caught. Reverend Alden goes, "Where's the ball? Where's the ball? I don't know where the ball is." And he's like, "Here's the ball." Again, caught cheating, and so Walnut Grove won. They cheated, and that only caused Walnut Grove to win.
Interesting. And the last scene, which had such an odd ending, at least the way it streamed
Popcorn?
on
The popcorn?
the popcorn, and Ma saying after she objected to the game in the beginning, coming off of this huge rumble.
Yep.
That was a wonderful game, Charles.
And it was
And
not.
he said, "Yeah, we're done with this now. We don't need to do this ever again." And no, she really liked it. We can raise money for the school next year.
Well,
And they were beating each other. So
they
people
really
were
were,
punching each
but
other
it
in the
was
face.
very,
Why?
it was very Keystone Cop-esque.
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
that
yes, of
rumble.
course. Of
So I'm
course.
sure it was more for comedic effect than anything. But it was a true rumble. I
Oh
mean,
yeah, no,
But
big
yeah,
time.
If they were objecting to this game on moral grounds because it was inciting gambling and all these
And
things that were not
violence.
moral, and not to mention Slick with his cigar and his booze in the
beer,
middle of
the
freaking
barrel
game,
of beer.
right?
They brought the band and barrels of beer to this game.
and then they start punching each other. This
I want to
game-
hang out in Sleepy Eye.
Pa started the rumble when he ran down the catcher.
And he
at
had
the-
2 table flips. He did.
Yes,
flip.
2 table flips.
ruining the pie contest and all they did.
what a game.
But in the end, Ma said, "Let's do that again next year." And
Yeah,
she got into it.
And Charles sort of, with a wink, turning down the lamp.
Oh, no. Her last
okay.
line was, "But it's healthy, vigorous exercise." And he says, "Yes," and turns off the light. Oh no, what was that?
put
I'm
the
sorry. She starts
popcorn
with
bowl
healthy,
down.
physical, vigorous exercise. And he's like,
Well.
funny you should ask.
Well, I'm
And,
glad we
yeah.
got to the end of the episode.
We
with the-
sure
with
did.
the
We
bu-
really
yeah.
wrapped it up full circle here, didn't we?
I
We found a
hope so.
way in
And
the end.
gambling. Now, there's the thing. Do you gamble? Do either of you gamble?
No.
I do
No.
not.
No.
I have no
Me
interest
neither.
I
in
have
that.
no interest in it
See,
either.
Yeah.
there you are.
Yeah.
'Cause we watch
And
Little
yet,
House of Cards, we
gambling
know better.
is a
we watch Little
huge part of sports today.
yeah. Oh,
I mean, it is a multi-billions of dollars are wagered
money is-
every day on sporting events.
Yep. Let's go
And
next.
it's really, you wonder, what are we thinking? I mean, it's just, we need the thrill of that.
I guess it's a rush. It's not a rush for me thinking I'm going to lose money.
It's
I think
not.
more about losing the
Thank you.
money than
Yeah.
the winning the money. That's why it doesn't
There are enough
appeal to
other
me.
ways to lose money. I don't
Yes.
need to just hand it to somebody.
No.
Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly right. Why would I just hand you my money?
Yeah. I mean, I've never cared for casinos. I mean,
Me
I'm
neither.
just. I remember going
appeal to
I
me.
went down to see the Muhammad Ali fight with Greg Jacobian, Brad Jacobian, who was our second
Brad!
assistant
Love
director,
Brad.
and we went and found Michael at Caesars because he'd gone to watch this Larry Holmes
course he did.
Muhammad Ali fight, and I remember Michael's at the blackjack table. And there, there's this huge crowd around the blackjack table because Michael's playing blackjack. And I'm asking him something. He said, I don't really enjoy gambling because I can't win enough to make me happy.
Wow.
And
Oh dear.
yeah, no, I mean, it's just like the money didn't mean anything to him at that point. So then it's like, well, then why am I sitting here at this table doing this? No, he was there at the table. He was playing blackjack. There was a huge crowd of people around cheering as he's counting to 21. But he didn't really. I think he enjoyed the audience. I don't think he cared about the gambling.
I think we need to talk about gambling, perhaps in a Patreon. But
okay, let's do that. Let's
so
do that.
What do you think is the moral of this episode? Ultimately, despite the fight and all, cheaters never prosper. What?
Sure.
Well, let's see. What did I had something at the end that I summarized here.
I mean, that's bad when we have to struggle to find what the moral of the episode is.
So many things.
I mean, there were a couple of
Still
things.
better than the older
Good
brothers.
ends don't justify bad means.
Yes.
How we pursue victory matters as much as the victory itself.
Yes.
Yes.
That's
Thank you.
That's something to consider.
So here's what I was thinking too, because I didn't remember what really happens in this episode, because this is not an episode that like might go
I
to
can
if
imagine
I
that.
turn it on. But
Yeah.
so they're hyping. So we meet Jebediah. He's the pitcher. He's the guy. Every scene, they're like, "You're the guy. We love you. We're gonna win." Blah blah. And I was like, something terrible is going to happen to Jebediah. He's going to die. He's going to break his arm. He's going to get some horrific disease, which would be incredibly Prairie. But none of that happened.
No, his wife just said no.
He just had a wife that had a little stick up her butt. That's all.
You've watched too many of the dark episodes.
I know.
Of, like predicting this poor man's death.
Here's another theme to consider. Competition is healthiest when it's rooted in respect rather than
Yes,
greed.
right. That's a
You know,
great
that's
point.
that's
There
a
we
good
go.
thing.
Okay, we'll wrap it up on that note then.
Yeah.
That's the lesson that was learned from the beginning. Get it? The beginning. Get it, you guys?
In the beginning, yes. Yeah. Oh, I've got one more for you. Play is
go.
not the opposite of responsibility. It's one of the things that helps us bear all the responsibilities we've got. It's diversion. But we want to do it respectfully.
Sure.
We'll go with it. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Great. Now go play ball.
Yeah.
All right.
And stay away from that big brawl at the end. That's,
Yeah.
I think that sort of killed
Yeah.
it for me. The big brawl at the end. Like, what are
really
we doing?
did.
Anyway.
It was yuck comedy. That's that's all that was.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
seeing
yeah.
Michael Landon flip over a table. I mean, he's so athletic and he's
And
so adorable.
he had his shirt on, so it's like
did,
maybe it
but
wasn't
he had-
that would have made it really good if he'd had no
No,
shirt on.
but the baseball cap was super cute, though. I mean, he was on a whole other level of cuteness in this episode, I have to say.
There you go.
Very boyish charm.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
type of
Michael
sexy.
radiated boyish charm.
Yeah, really good.
He really did. Yeah.
All right. Well, on that note, that was our episode for today, you guys. I'm sure next week we'll be going blind or some
something
fire will
horrible's
happen,
gonna
or
happen
something
next
very
week.
horrible will happen. We just sort of needed a break from all of the drama. But don't worry, we'll be back. So check us out on our socials, Little House 50 Podcast, or our website, littlehouse50podcast.com. Like and subscribe. Give us a great review. That really helps us with the algorithm and getting us out there. If you're not on Patreon, what are you waiting for? It really helps us. It's the reason why we are still able to do this podcast. So thank you to our supporters. And come on, join. It's not that bad to join. And we will see you next time. We're going to be talking more about gambling, I suppose. I don't know. We go on tangents.
Yes,
you
and
guys,
we're going to be on
it's
one
a
right now.
free-for-all
Yeah.
on Patreon. Anyway, we'll see you next time. Bob, get the wig. Let's fly. Woo! I don't know any baseball reference to say going down this stupid hill. Do you?
Swing and a miss.
Okay.
No.
Bada, 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 swing.
Gone, gone, gone.